Hello, everybody. I'm Jalen, and welcome to episode 23 of my Minecraft Survival World. And today is going to be all about building. I didn't do any building in my last episode, and that just didn't feel right. So we're going to make up for it today. We're going to build a humongous bridge over on this end and get the little bridge over on this end that I've been procrastinating on since I planned the world out here. And going to do a little lighthouse on this little spit of sand we got going on. And yeah, there's few things I want to get done, and I plan on episode 25 being a world tour, so we just got this episode and the next episode to kind of get through a pretty long list in my head of things that I want to get done, so they're going to be pretty jam-packed. Another thing we're going to do is come down here and put a little TLC into the beach area here. I've kind of neglected it. We've got all these buildings just boring inside, and we'll get those interiors done, but we're actually going to start with the villager house interiors. I've been really wanting to get them done. You can see I've done a little work off camera. Spent a little time just texturing the walls a little bit and swapping the floors out, just making them look a little prettier, getting them ready to come in and do an interior on. I also gave every house a little fireplace just because I think it really adds some character. So yeah, I got all prepped up. I got a nice shulker box full of materials, and my inventory is full of kind of just usable stuff to get an interior going. For this first one, I'm going to stick with a 1.21 theme, so lots of copper and using the new 1.21 blocks. And I think it came out really good, so just enjoy the process. And the new paintings are something I kind of slept on. I, for some reason, thought there was only a few coming, but there's 20 new paintings, which is really nice. I also like these copper bulbs a lot as an addition. I think they just look really cool and cool variation. And yeah, just simple interior, nothing too fancy, not really anything too creative or anything, but just filling up the walls a little bit. And I think it turned out really cool. And these trapdoors will oxidize into the blue state, and I think that'll help with the vibe a little bit, and that'll look real cool in here. I'm really liking the new blocks and the new paintings, and pretty good little update. I decided to go ahead and kind of stick with the 121 theme in this house down here. Just while I was at it, I was just enjoying it. And we're just going to kind of fly through these. You see the process once. They're very small interiors, so I'm just doing the best I can with the little space I got, and things are pretty basic. I'm just making sure people have a place to sit and sleep, and a kitchen, and a few decorations on the wall, and that's about it. Getting more creative on my interiors is something I really need to improve on, and I plan on making a focus on that here at some point. But yeah, for these little houses, I think things turned out pretty cool. I like working with little interiors. I think they're kind of fun, and I think the chimneys really add a lot to the vibe down here. But yeah, just making the most you can out of a little bit of space, and now these villagers just have nice, comfy places to live and places to sleep. I do think these first two are my favorite. I kind of put the most thought into them as well, but yeah, just focusing on the 121 blocks. Obviously, the new tough blocks are just probably one of the cooler blocks in the game now. They almost beat deep slate bricks and blocks. So I look forward to using them, and this one's definitely my favorite. Again, like I've said before, seeing the interiors from the outside is almost one of the coolest things about getting them built. And yeah, just the shape of this house and overall size, and like I said, the paintings, I just think the new paintings are really cool. So yeah, I had fun doing that. That was a lot of work, cut down into just a couple minutes. Definitely took some work there, but glad to get it done. I didn't want to break up the montage when this happened. During one of the nights, I started getting attacked by zombies, and that is not a good sign when you're in a free roaming village like this. So I was panicking, looking around, seeing where they might have been coming from, if anyone was getting attacked, seeing if I left a hole open somewhere. And it didn't take too long before I came around this corner and saw this guy hiding back here, and I figured this is where they came from. So I just forgot to light this back up when I was doing a little terraforming, and that is what happens when you got this kind of village going. But They started repopulating the next day, and I didn't lose anybody important. Which I guess is kind of harsh. Once we get names for our villagers, that'll feel like a much bigger loss, so I need to do that here pretty soon. But yeah, now we're going to do a little terraforming session. I need to smooth this ground out here on the left. It's going to be a farm really soon. And work on this rock wall meeting the river here and place a little sand to cover some grass. And also do the big project of doing some terraforming just on this wall and this land over here overall. But we're going to start with smoothing out this area so that I can plant a field here in the near future. And then I made my way down and started just giving a little room to work down here along the river. And I was gonna just terraform it into the river, but I decided I'm gonna do a little path down here, so we'll come back to that here pretty quick. But yeah, once we got to this side of what's gonna be the new bridge, I started covering it all with sand just to make the beach blend together a little better and just make things a lot cleaner. It definitely did the job. But now for the big project is coming over here and working on this area a little bit. And I wanted to just get some grass placed and get a nice level top and make the road fit in a little better. And that ended up being a lot more dirt and just more work overall than I realized I was biting off here. Because I needed to bring the cliff down to terraform it to the beach. And this is how I do it. I work from the inside out and kind of bring the cobblestone towards me. And just work it and meet up in the middle, and that way you end up with this little concave look. It just kind of makes things a little more natural. We'll blend the dirt in on the top and make things look better. We also went around the bottom with some sand just to give a little variation. And while I was at it, I went around and started doing the little moss trick that I've kind of picked up from mainly watching Hermitcraft, and yeah, it just looks really good. And I went around with the top and kind of turned some of the top stone into moss as well. And I think that's a cool way to do it. And I just was going crazy. Started planting some acacia trees down here. And this turned into a really fun little project. I think we got this cliff looking awesome. And I didn't stop there. I got planting some jungle trees up here, kind of give a jungle forest walk for this road. This doesn't have to be permanent. I can come back here, chop these down, and build some buildings eventually. It's definitely kind of a prime location, but since I don't plan on doing that anytime soon, sometimes just getting a nice forest in as a placeholder is well worth it. And I think this ended up really cool, especially the way this iron farm was revealed, and yeah, just got ourselves a cool forest. Then I headed down and got back to work on getting this little river walk going, which is just a project that came to me real quick and ended up being a fun little project. For this whole little terraforming session here, I was just in a great building zone, and I love being in a good Minecraft zone. Just placing the blocks in the right spots and having all the blocks you need, and it was a productive work session. Once we got the pathway lit up here and the mood nice and set, this little river walk ended up being really cool. And simple additions like this just all add up. If you just fill your whole island up with little things like this, all of a sudden you have a whole bunch of really cool stuff. So we'll go ahead and take this flight again, check the view, and yeah, you can see we got the soon-to-be farmland just laid out a lot better, just looks way smoother. And this river walk looks awesome down here. Just blends with the river, just so much more life. And getting the sand blended in with the beach here. Just tightening things up a little bit. We're doing a pretty good number on this island here. Look at our rock wall over here. It just looked so plain before, and now it's just lush. I think it's awesome. I try to be cool here, but I'm not that good. I'll stick to building. But yeah, we did get this forest just looking real cool over here. Once we get the big bridge built in, it's really going to change the scene a little bit. It's going to be really cool. But yeah, just like I said earlier, just getting this little forest in as a placeholder. I'm probably going to do that around the island a little bit. Just ends up looking really cool, and I can go replace it later. And yeah, we got the farmland down here, nice and smooth, ready for fields to be planted, and take a little stroll down the riverwalk here, which ended up being really cool. Obviously, I could come back at some point and build into this wall a little bit, little hobbit holes into the wall is a possible idea, or I can just leave it as is. You don't need to have buildings everywhere. I might not even use this very much, but I think it ended up cool. But now we're going to get working on this bridge that I've been looking at, this little slab of road here for half a year or more probably. So we're going to put some of these copper blocks to use that we got in the last episode, and explaining my process here would just be kind of hard. Honestly, my biggest tip is just to hop into a creative copy of your world and do some sketching and get the shape you want. I will say this bridge is 23 across with the tall pillar right in the middle, and knowing that, you can kind of look and get the idea. But yeah, I definitely had spent some time in creative just working with the shape a little bit, and it is the way to go, even though I do change it a little bit from here. But yeah, you can see we got started. I'm just going to let it play out here. It's kind of fun just to watch the bridge get built. And when it comes to getting the shape you want for this kind of thing, it's a lot like building roofs. Just kind of go with the same idea. And I ended up using these copper rods as the cables, and I was surprised how cool they ended up looking, just really vibrant. And there's another big advantage to them that I'll point out in just a second. But yeah, I got a couple bulbs put in just to fit with the theme, and I was really happy with how this came out here. It's the coolest bridge I've ever built to this point. The episode isn't over yet. But yeah, take a flight out and see what it looks like from a distance here. And yeah, the other advantage to those copper rods is that they stay there. They don't go away like trapdoors and banners and all that. So no matter how far away, they're going to stay loaded in. So I think they look really cool, and they're just vibrant. They go so well with the copper theme we got going here, especially since I went with the oxidized copper for this bridge. But yeah, I'm really happy with it. And I'm just going to keep on going. So we're going to put a little work into these interiors on the beach here. Like I said, haven't came down here since I built this whole beach area. I haven't given it any love, so I'm excited to get going on that. And I'm just going to let it play out for a second. I know we already did a bunch of interiors, but I just really like taking you all along for the ride with me, so that when you see something later in the series, you can always go back to find when I did it, not just magically show you a bunch of things all done. And I think it's fun to watch. And like I said earlier, I definitely plan on working on my creativity and getting interiors going here. It's definitely somewhere I need to improve. But I like to build in stages, so I just consider this the next stage of getting the interiors, and at least we have them established. Then I can always come back and try to make things look cooler in the future. But I just kind of went with my cookie cutter process, assembly line, and then I was planning on making a couple of them fishermen's houses, and I wanted to get a few things for decoration, so I came out to the coral reef and was doing some fishing, and I got killed by a drowned. Luckily, I had just slept in the village nearby, so I didn't have a long travel back. I just got my stuff geared back up and kept on grinding. I think there's been a death in the majority of the episodes so far. And yeah, I was doing some fishermen. I put cauldrons down at first, but I caught my mistake quickly and replaced them with barrels. And yeah, made a couple of the houses fishermen's houses just to have some action going on around the dock. Slowly but surely, things were coming together. Tried to fill the item frames with things that represented the villagers' jobs, and a lot of the time, so we'll see how long these villagers sleep in the same bed. And I made this corner house kind of a little bar. We got some potions, even though right now it's just bottles of water and potions of weakness. I'll get some better potions and put a little work texturing the dock here a little bit just while I was down here, but yeah, it feels good to have come down and given the beach area a little love. It's one of my favorite builds, actually, so nice to be back here. And yeah, like I said, got this kind of a little cafe bar for the people to come up on from the beach, and turn this one into a fisherman's place, which I think ended up really cool. I like these little buckets of fish I got going out here, and yeah, just simple decor as usual. Did go with a little bit of fisherman's theme in here, but yeah, once again, just making the best out of small places. I think this one's my favorite one. It's kind of the main house. Gets 4 of the villagers in here, and yeah, a nice comfy place for them to all stay. And I'm curious to see how long I keep them in their beds there. And yeah, again, down here it's really important since you're walking so close to the houses. Just the view from outside is almost as cool as getting the actual interiors done for the inside. It's just nice being able to have something catch your eye when you walk by. But we're not done on the beach. I've got a big project I want to make here, and it's going to require a lot of white terracotta, so I had to take a trip to the mesa there, and we're going to build a cool lighthouse here. I've never built a lighthouse before, so I'm excited for this. Once again, I did hop into a creative copy just to kind of sketch out a vague idea of what I wanted to do here, so I kind of coming in with a plan. And yeah, if you're trying to follow along a little bit, I just make a circle by going 5 straight, 2 diagonal, 5 straight, 2 diagonal, and you end up with a easy little circle. I mean, not a real circle, but yeah, then I ended up going 5 high for the bottom row, and then I went in 1 and did the same thing, made the lap around, and I went 7 high for this section. Then I went in 1 more and went 5 high again. Topped it off with some oak wood as a trim. Went around with some upside down stairs just like I usually do, and filled in the floor with some spruce. Filled in this square, 5x5 square, but cutting the corners off, so it ends up a little more rounded. Went up 4 high, put in a light on the floor. Then I started going up with some yellow glass, and notice that I leave the middle hollow, and I didn't realize it was going to do this, but it ends up looking cool later on, so that's a little tip. Then I went with the typical pointed roof that I've done many times before at this point. And it ends up being a pretty tall building I ended up building here. Go ahead and take a flight, see how it fits in with the area. Now my plan is to have this kind of just spread my build out and just spread the footprint of my world and create a little depth with which that does perfect. I'm really liking the location of it there on the little spit of sand. And yeah, the depth it creates is just really cool. And going into it, my main thought was having it kind of just occupy the left side of this view here. And it's doing the exact job that I was hoping for. Like I said, just expanding the footprint of our builds here, spreading things out, especially when we get this bridge built over here. It's going to be a lot of progress we end up making in this episode here. And yeah, now that we got the basic shape of the building down, it's time for my favorite part, which is making it look better. So like I said, we're going with the oak trim theme going on, and I just work my way around. I'm trying to make it unspawnable so I can leave some of this area kind of dark. So I'm trying to do half slabs best I can. And yeah, just working my way up, filling the corners with oak and topping the terracotta with slabs, and just extending things out like I always do. using some fences to round things off there. Build a little porch down at the bottom. Once again, have to extend the rock down to blend it with the land and the water. Then just one final lap around, putting in flowers, and I like going with my new thing is going with just the 2 trap doors kind of as a shade. And I think it looks pretty good. It's always fun stepping away for that first look after putting in a bunch of work on some details. I haven't seen it since I looked last time, and I think that just really brought it to life here. I'm really happy with how it's looking, and like I said, just spreading things out and just making my world feel a lot bigger for just one building being added. Yeah, take a little cruise in the boats. Oh yeah. Just filling that left side exactly how I wanted. And I think we got the rocks blended in, looking really cool. I'm getting in a pretty good groove where a lot of the stuff is just coming easier and easier to me. At least right now I've been in a good building session. I wanted to take a peek at night, so I spent the day working on this path to have someone be able to get to it, and just waited for the nighttime to come around so that you can see, gotta see the lighthouse at night. And like I said, I'm trying to leave the house kind of dark. I just think it looks really cool with the light on top. And you get that extra bright yellow in the middle from leaving the middle hollow. So I think that's a really cool trick for a lighthouse build. But we're going to rest up and get right back to work. We've got the biggest project of the episode coming up. Going to get going on this bridge here. And once again, I spent a good amount of time in a creative copy of my world, just sketching things out and tweaking things until it was really at a point that I liked it. The advantage to doing that is sometimes if you build something in survival mode, you decide that it's good enough even though it's not exactly how you want it, but you just keep it anyway because you don't want to tear it down. But if you sketch things out in creative and just make all the little tweaks in there, it's pretty easy to hop into your survival world and build it up. And you just end up with a better product in the end. And we're going with the same concept we went with on the first bridge, just kind of expanding on it, almost building 2 of them. This one is 63 blocks long, so a pretty big bridge. I was taking inspiration for the general shape from the Tacoma Narrows Bridge, which is right near where I live in Washington State. Didn't try to copy it exactly, but it kind of gave me the idea for the general shape. And then it was just the grind of placing all the blocks. And once I had the first side laid out, it made the rest a lot easier, just copying as I went. But it still takes some time. Instead of copper rods, I went with fences this time, just because I was going with the orange copper already for one thing, and I actually think for this bridge the fences look good. From a distance I wanted them to be a little more visible, so yeah, got the lights put in, did a little terraforming for both bridges, just made it fit in with the land a little better. Obviously we'll come back and really put some work into these areas when we get here, but yeah, lit up the new jungle forest we created a little bit and put some final lighting on the bridge all the way across, just so it's well lit up. And this is the coolest bridge I've ever built by far. Like I said, the first bridge I built was the coolest bridge I built before that. So yeah, take a step back here, especially at the nighttime. I'm really proud of the progress we've made today. Just imagine without the bridge and the lighthouse there, like, our base just feels so much bigger after adding this. And this is a pretty big bridge. I'm pretty proud of myself for putting in the work here. Not to mention all the interiors we got done and all the terraforming. It's just been a very productive episode. Go ahead and sleep through the night just to give you a good daytime look at the bridge here. And I can't say it enough. I'm just really proud of this. I know I say it for a lot of my builds, but as far as in the subject of bridges, this is way cooler than I've imagined. And yeah, walking across it, you really get a feeling for how big it is. And I think it's cool with the fences kind of blocking the view a little bit, but you can still see out there. And we got this land ready to extend the road out into the jungle, and I'm looking forward to that. If all goes well, I might even do that next episode. Again, trying to squeeze a whole bunch in here before episode 25. But I'm happy with what we got done today. So yeah, with that, I'm going to call it an episode. As always, I appreciate you all for coming, and have a good day.